thank you for jumping on the call today. Do you want to just introduce yourself and let people know a little bit about your business?
Sure. So thank you, Tom, for taking the time to have this conversation with us. And I am just Preet Rai. You can call me Preet. I am the founder and CEO of Sanrai Group. We started in 2008. Our business is a little bit different in that we have our B2C component of the business, which we started in India. And by B2C, I mean we touch the end customer. Our core focus is oxygen, sleep, ventilation. And our business model in the rest of the emerging markets, where we currently have an office in Dubai to kind of touch all the customers in the Gulf countries, Middle East area. And then we have an office in Johannesburg, another one in Bogota, Colombia, and our most recent one is in London. We are headquartered in New York, which is where I am right now. Our that's been our focus so far.
Okay, awesome. And obviously with everything that's going on in the world right now, how has that affected your business, especially being in respiratory equipment?
Great question. And this is something that we had not anticipated, right? We are in the oxygen, non-invasive ventilation space, and we, thought that with this pandemic, there would be some need for our products, but we didn't understand just the orders of magnitude that was going to hit us with. And being a very sort of a small enough, niche enough company, we pivoted very quickly towards really providing personal protective gear along with oxygen ventilation. And the reason we've been able to do that is that over the last 12 years or 14 years now, we've fundamentally built relationships with both the supply side as well as our customers so that there's reliability and there's trust and credibility in what we are bringing to the table. So where, you find a lot of people coming and just trading because they see this as an opportunity, our customers are coming to us because they know that we've been in this market and they trust us, right? We have always wanted to maintain brand integrity, and we've been able to leverage that to really provide services in this time, even going outside, a little bit outside of our regular portfolio of just oxygen and ventilation. So currently we are working with a lot of different governments directly in Europe, in Latin America, in South Africa, and even in India. They're starting with, even though the regulations were really strict in allowing companies like us to really transport and bring in products that the market needed, but it's opening up and we're able to address that market need very effectively.
So just to clarify, what products do you provide and how do they directly impact people's lives during this crisis? Are they being used in hospitals to help people?
Absolutely. So thank you for asking that clarification question, because our core business is oxygen and non-invasive ventilation. So we continue to provide that. And that is the first care that is given to anybody that has COVID, has the disease. And what happens is that very quickly that core business translated into, we also need gowns and we also need masks and we need, all the other protective gear that goes in. And we were able to, we supply some of it on a regular basis, but because we've been in the industry and we work with a lot of the international markets and manufacturers, we are able to procure those products at a very good competitive price. And we know that our products are genuine. So we are able to actually provide masks and gloves and gowns, the entire gamut of products that are needed for protection, personal protection at this point.
Wow. So you're as busy as you've ever been. How are you coping with the extra demands? And can you sort of quantify that extra demand right now, or are you just sort of reacting?
So yes, and in this situation, there is no option but to be, react to it in a manner that is agile and yet effective, right? So we rely very heavily on our systems. So we use CRM, ERP, and we use Oracle to kind of keep track of it. We get, orders of magnitude, the leads that are coming in or the people that are reaching out to us. And each of those regions, we are managing to keep all our leads, all our open opportunities, making sure that we are following up with them regularly, providing all of the information. And we are using, a very robust system to kind of track all of that.
That's great to hear. So are you kind of conscious of sort of how much more demand there is? I mean, you're seeing orders from new places, I presume. You're seeing new orders from different regions. Can you put a sort of a figure on sort of what percentage increase you're experiencing right now?
It's very hard to put it in percentages right now. They're really very, very high demand. And it's more important right now to find manufacturers that can credibly meet that demand, right? So the demand is far outstripping what the manufacturing capability is anywhere right now in the world. So for us, the leads and the opportunity or the people that are reaching out to us is tremendous. But how much of that are we able to justifiably meet and services, we'll see how that plays out.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you may have touched on it already, but what are the key challenges that you're facing right now? I mean, it sounds like a supply chain issue, but please, let me know.
Yeah, I think the most important one is supply chain. Freight is another one, right? The governments are trying to prevent a lot of the trading that's happening, right? People just being opportunistic and trying to, they have no idea about the healthcare industry, but they see a little sort of a demand coming up. So everybody's trying to say, okay, how can I just kind of meet that or, take advantage of that? So a lot of the governments are being very particular, and whereas earlier the borders were more open for trade, are now more selective in sending that product out to reliable partners. And freight is amazingly, that is our biggest challenge right now, finding the right partners and the right companies to kind of move the product in a price-effective manner. The rates have gone up tremendously.
So at this stage, you mentioned obviously you've got a B2B component to your business and also a B2C in India. So is that are you finding challenges across both marketplaces as far as distribution?
A little bit more in India because the product is being, the borders were sealed. India just kind of one day decided, okay, everything is closed. We're not accepting anything. So we had some product in our warehouses, which again, we use Oracle to maintain our inventory. In fact, we use it for the entire circle. So we manage our inventory. We make sure that the leads are captured in that so that we know we can, project what we're going to need. And then we also build from that so that we can, track what we have and how we handle that. And if the most recent thing that we've done in India is also we have Sanrai Shop, which is an e-commerce portal backed by our brick and mortar locations, so that customers can order online. But if they need support in the cities where they want, a demo or they want somebody to come in, because each of our locations, we have a technician, we have a warehouse, we have the admin available to do any kind of service, and customer service is key for us. So to answer your question, the business in India is a little bit out of whack because the demand is there, but the movement and the product, it's a little bit harder to kind of fulfill that and meet it. Whereas in the rest of the world, it's more open. That we have a similar model there. For example, our office in Johannesburg, we have a sales team. We have our ops people, we have 3 people in the workshop, we have a warehouse. But where the demand comes in, there's a regulated way in which we can meet it. So it's a little bit easier in the B2B market than in the B2C market at this point. But then the demand and the need is acute across the board.
Yeah, it must be really challenging, because I guess you need to be sort of pragmatic in your business approach, but at the same time, it's challenging because the products you're providing potentially save lives and make such an impact. So to have that sort of duality of making business decisions, but then also knowing that you need to make sure that you do the right thing for the people that can benefit. Is that something that you found challenging, or is it quite straightforward to just kind of get things out to where they're most needed?
So that's been something that's been core to us from the time of inception. Our team is very important to us. We treat them as family, and their security, their safety is first, right? So we make sure that our team has the protective gear when they're out with the customers, when the machines are coming in. We make sure that they are kept for the required amount of time so that we can sanitize them properly before they're used in the warehouse or worked on. The end customer is critical to us, because that's how we generate business and goodwill for ourselves and for our customers that are also further going on to the end customer. So we are doing our best to make sure that they're getting product that is credible, that's got certain most of the products that we deal with have all the required certification. The factories that we procure product from similarly are vetted, are genuine, are not, we don't work with traders. We make sure that security and safety of everybody from our team to our customers is priority for us. So we try and we've always had that rule, and we've kind of put a point focus on it, and we continue to do that. So it comes naturally to us. It's not something we've really changed.
That's great to hear. So obviously you mentioned that you use Oracle NetSuite as your ERP. Have you made any sort of major sort of changes to your business or your business model, or have you simply sort of scaled and sort of made it larger?
We have pivoted, like I mentioned to you at the start of this conversation. We really were not in the personal protective gear market, PPE, right? And my business partner, Amarpreet Rai, has really worked hard to secure those relationships where, we've got existing relationships that we've leveraged to bring in product, to bring in credible product. So that's something that we were not doing earlier, and which we are continuing to source and procure for our customers. Has that resulted in the bottom line increasing? It's very hard to say right now, but I think the way the business is going, it will definitely have an impact, and it will increase our portfolio of product and the services that we provide to our customers right now.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you must have had the craziest month, 6 weeks, 2 months. How have you found it?
Actually, we were at Arab Health when this started in China. If you remember, January end is when it all kind of started to happen. And it was interesting. Even back then, we had a fairly large booth, and we saw an unusually high activity. We saw also that a lot of our customers and a lot of our suppliers were the activity level has been high, is what I'm trying to say from that point on. So it's been interesting to kind of see where the indicators were, to be able to analyze them and kind of predict where it's going. And we're at the same point now, right? Because if you look at the numbers, Europe is really highly, compromised and facing the full wrath of the disease, whereas the emerging markets seem to be, still fairly quiet. You don't see huge numbers coming out of India. You don't see huge numbers coming out of Africa. America, a little bit. You know, you're seeing Ecuador, you're seeing a few pockets. But because we've seen how it kind of progressed, it's something that we are preparing for, and we are making sure that this time around, you know, we are prepared for our customers, and we have the products that we know that they're going to need, you know, sourced and warehoused.
That's fascinating. So you're actively looking at sort of models and looking to the future as to where you might need and be needed the most around the world. I mean, so obviously that leads into my sort of next question then. So how are you sort of, if there's any way to prepare for the future, how are you preparing for the future?
The only thing that we can do is like I'd mentioned to you earlier, you know, Amarpreet is securing the product and vetting it and making sure that we have the samples, and we're verifying the manufacturers, making sure that we're able to provide repeat orders to our existing customers. So we will probably start to warehouse a little bit more. So because, you know, the customers don't always anticipate the numbers that they're going to need. So we're going to we don't want to hold a lot of stock because we know there's a lot of people that need it. But I think we are going to hold a little bit of it so that we can supply some of the demand that we are anticipating that's going to come out of the emerging markets. There's really no crystal ball that we can look at, but we can prepare as much as possible based on what's happened, right? What has happened in Europe, what is happening right now in the US. We are very, very aware of it, empathetic to it, and we are making sure that we are prepared in our markets with the product and our team being ready to kind of handle it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think, you know, touching it there, but, you know, it's the being empathetic and having empathy at this time is so key for everyone, because, you know, we're all in this together, and yeah, it's something that we can all sort of, it's a shared experience, right? Yeah, so I mean, obviously, so I mean, from you know, from the past few months, you know, is there anything that's really that you've learned, anything that, you know, you think you know that we might inspire other people or might help other people or other business owners?
Look, I think there's a good side to humanity which is coming out. A lot of people are reaching out to other people. I'm a Sikh, and I know that in my faith, a lot of you know, free food, all, you know, 12 hours of the day. There's running food provided. A lot of people are really reaching beyond normal sort of boundaries to come in and help. The one thing that I would look back and say, you know, we could have handled this a little bit better had the governments been a little bit better coordinated, instead of trying to fight and, you know, over the same products and kind of let the pricing go out of whack. Had everybody been coordinating at that level and picked one agency or one organization under which the different countries, depending on their level of need, you know, if we'd all kind of pooled together and helped that country at that time, it would have been a little bit easier, learned our lessons from like South Korea, right? The tests and all of that, understood the models that are working and kind of focused on that, then I think that would have helped all of us collectively. Because the impact of this pandemic is not just the disease part of it, right? It's also the economic part of it. And we are, for better or worse, we're all kind of joined together in that global market. And this time around, it's very important that everybody stay healthy. All the countries. It doesn't matter whether you're in US, Europe, you know, India, South Africa. It just doesn't matter. We all need to take care of each other.
Exactly. Well, I think that's a message. It's a good one to finish up on. So thank you so much, Preet, for taking the time out, and thank you so much for that inspiring story. Yeah, continue doing the good work and getting, you know, sort of much needed products out to the people that need it the most.
Thank you, Tom. I truly appreciate your time as well, and it was really nice talking to you.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Take care.